I get a lot of people asking me how we were blessed to walk away from corporate America in our early 30s. Well, listen, I don't want to keep that a secret. I want to share it with the world. And so maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to figure out, how do I even get started on my journey of entrepreneurship and getting to a level of freedom? Well, text the word freedom to 737 777 9909. Enter your information in, and we look forward to sharing some information with you. A proven system with small overhead, right? That you can do part-time, spare time, right from the comfort of your home, and have amazing mentors, coaches, and a community of entrepreneurs who are willing to support you and help you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt like there's got to be more than life than the reality that you see every day? Tune in weekly, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as we crack the codes to freedom in every area of your life. Welcome to Code Freedom. This is your host, Eddie Bales, and this is episode 215. And today, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to start reviewing what our 2022 looked like, because it's the 15th, 14th, 15th of the month, depending on when you're listening. And it's the middle of the month, but it's also the last month of the entire year. And so, I posted this on my social media channel, which, by the way, if you're not following me, definitely connect with us, and that way you can kind of see more of what we're doing and what we're up to. But I said, don't fear failure, fear being in the exact same place next year as you are today. And so, to be honest with you, most people's lives don't change that much from year to year. If you were to look at the last 5 years, I would venture to say that your income probably has stayed the same. um you know your living situation probably stayed the same. Like, your physical may have stayed the same, unless you made decisions where you wanted to just legitimately say, look, enough is enough, I got to make some changes, right? But for the most part, look, 95% of what we do today is something that we did yesterday, right? And we run our lives on autopilot because of our subconscious. Our subconscious takes over, and our subconscious starts to really run our lives. And so that's why we talk a lot about the subconscious, because if you can change what's in the subconscious, then you can change the daily habits and behaviors that we have. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Today, all I'm talking about is like, hey, look, what if you looked at how much you earned every single month? And you started to say, okay, how much better did I do in 22 than I did in 21? And then you can start to say, hey, what am I going to do differently going into 2023, so that I can make sure that I don't repeat it again, yet again? Because it's one thing to have this, this amazing feeling of, oh, it's the first and happy new year when the clock strikes. But once that feeling is gone, we fall right back into our normal routines, our normal habits, and the things that we've always done. So the thing is, what are we going to do differently going into the new year, right? Are we going to be how are we going to be intentional? So this is something that's going to be thought provoking. You got to actually think about this one and jot some ideas down. It would be a good idea to talk to somebody too. If you have a mentor or coach, I would even say it's a good idea to talk to somebody and say, hey, look, this is what's been happening for me for the last several years. Where do you see where I can change going into 23? I mean, it pays to do something different, because the only way we can get something different is if we do something different. And a lot of times, we want to be conscious of our subconscious. We want to be conscious of the unconscious. And what that means is identifying what are the habits and behaviors that are running on autopilot that we don't even think about, but it's not leading us in the direction that we want to lead. Like for instance, what's your plan for investing? What's your plan for saving? What's your plan for tackling debt? Do you have any projects or businesses or anything that you're working on to be able to be financially free? To be what's your plan to be spiritually free? What's your plan in your relationship? Have you even considered investing in your relationship? Most people They just live their lives, and that's it. But what if you went to a relationship workshop or some kind of relationship seminar or something to that effect? Or what if you saw a therapist? There's so many things that you can do. What kind of books will you start reading to start getting some new knowledge? What kind of YouTube channels will you subscribe to? All those things. But the thing is, we can't just roll into the new year expecting things to change because we feel that it's going to be an exciting new year. Because guess what? We felt that way last year, and we felt that way the year before that. So the only way it'll change is if we change. And again, we got to just be intentional about it. We got to be very, like I would just say, start jotting your thoughts down on paper. Jot it down so you can look over it and reflect on it and really just ponder it and even get with somebody who is close to you and talk with them, like I would even say get with your those who you're in relationship with, maybe even like your obviously your spouse, but your kids. Say, hey, what do you think I can improve on? Every episode we talk about stretching ourselves and growing ourselves and becoming better. And I get it. You're busy, you're on the go. You don't always have time to stop and maybe read a book. Well, listen, I got the perfect thing for you. You're probably familiar with Audible. Audible is an audiobook service from Amazon, and they offer the world's biggest selection of books. I'm talking any book that I've recommended, and I've recommended a lot. You can get that book and you can listen to it on the go while you're in the car. Why not turn your car into Drive Time University? And for listening to this podcast, you can get your first 30 days free on us. So go to audibletrial.com/code freedom. That's audibletrial.com/code freedom. And we'll also put that in the show notes. Going, in terms of our relationship, like, what do you think I could do better as a father, as a mother, right? Um, and then you could even say this to your spouse. What do you think as a husband or as a wife that I could do better going into the new year? And let them talk and be very careful, especially guys. Don't be defensive. Just shut up, zip it, and listen. And this is not a time to defend. This is a time to just take it in, write it down, and reflect and say, you know, if they're feeling this way, maybe I could make a few changes. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that, right? So there's all kind of different things. But one of the things too is what's your growth plan? What's your plan to grow you? Are you investing in you? Right? Like have you taken any courses or gone to any workshops or seminars or anything? Look, whether it's free, whether it's paid, it doesn't matter. But the key is we gotta have a growth plan. We have to have a plan. We have to have a strategy, right? Because otherwise, I always say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If we don't have something in place, it's just gonna happen the way it's always happened. So this is kind of like a knock in the teeth. I understand, right? But it's a necessary one because I don't want your life to stay the same. Look, I don't want my life to stay the same. So these are all things that I'm going to be doing to just make sure that that I can shift things going into 23 because I have some big, huge, lofty goals over the next not just 2, 3, 4 years, but even over the next decade. And for me to be on track, I got to be looking at every day, every minute, every week, right? It can't just be, oh, I'm just gonna just coast. But I have to be very intentional, just like I'm talking to you all. So, prayerfully, you all know my heart. I'm not talking at you. I'm talking with you, because these are all things that I'm doing in my personal life, and I just thought I'd share some of these things with you all. So I'll share some of my own things that I know. One thing that I definitely have to have change is I have to work out more. You guys have heard me say that a lot. I tend to put that off sometimes, but I'm at an age where you don't want to put that off anymore because the older you get, the more you have to pay close attention to those things. So what I'm just curious. I love to have some dialogue with you all. Hop on over to the way to freedom.info. That's the way to freedom.info. Join our Facebook group, our Facebook community, and hey, we love to hear what are some things you're going to be changing going into 23. right? So listen, guys, I appreciate you all. This is episode 215 of the Code Freedom Podcast, and we can't wait to see you on the next episode. Take care, take charge, and we'll see you over the top. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for listening. Definitely feel free to take a screenshot of this episode, tag me in it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find me on social media. I would love to give you a shout out. Hey, you might even get a prize. Who knows? But excited that you had a chance to take a listen. I hope you got a lot of value. And definitely feel free to give us 5 stars as well as a review. Show us some love, and we appreciate you. God bless you all, and see you all over the top.